Kristaps Porzingis will definitely miss the start of next season. We'll talk about how that impacts the Celtics and draft reaction. The Celtics make 2 picks. Brad Stevens makes a first-round pick. What? It's all right now in the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Thanks to Blockbuster Brand, it's holiday season. Drop Drew in the mix, and 3 from KP. No, we not on the Knicks. Flushing competition like Al on Giannis. Juice and Big Deuce, still Beantown's finest. Banner 18 going up in the rafters. Watch the C's game in Locked On after. Karalis on the breakdown. Clutch like a tip from D. White on the breakdown. John on the mic, documenting domination. Matter pen a back bay, it's all C's nation. Rain and J's, how we started, raising business, how we finish. Locked On Celtics pod, home of the winners. Peace.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast. We're right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day, and I got you covered every single day, Monday through Friday, with a free, fresh podcast dropping directly to your device if you subscribe. So do that. Get onto the YouTube page, get into the comment section. Let me know what you're thinking. I'm John Karalis. Used to play a long while ago. Now I'm covering the Celtics as a beat writer for Boston Sports Journal. I've also written the commemorative book on the Celtics championship season called Built Different. Find it in stores, find it on Amazon, find it on triumphbooks.com/Celtics win. Use the code Celtics24 there for 25% off. So buy my book, please. Today, we're getting into Kristaps Porzingis. We're getting into draft reaction. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. And let's do all of our talk with Tom Westerholm. What is up, Tommy boy?
Hey. What up?
Hey. Oh, Celtics made 2 picks. So that's fun. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's talk about Porzingis. It was announced on Thursday that Porzingis is going to be out 5 to 6 months after surgery on his ankle. I presume that the 3-month recovery from the surgery thing that's kind of been bandied about still holds true, and that after that is a rehab strengthening, because Porzingis will have spent basically 3 months not on his feet. So he will have to go through all of the strengthening, conditioning, and all that stuff. So that will take a month or 2 getting him ready for NBA basketball. And that's why we're at the 5 to 6 months. So that brings him into Thanksgiving to Christmas time. So what was your initial reaction when you heard that timeline?
So, I mean, I tweeted this. My initial reaction was like, there's not a better time for a team to announce a lengthy absence for their star center than like late June after a championship run, right? Like, just like, yeah, man, you go take every single second that you need to get yourself better. The Celtics are chilling in your absence, right? Like, I mean, will this affect their, I don't know, race for the 1 seed next year? Like, yeah, maybe, I don't know, maybe not. Like, they're quite good without him. But yeah, I mean, it's like, I think the initial reaction is like, that's a lot, it's a long recovery. And, you look at a guy like Porzingis, who has had so many injury issues, who the Celtics did everything right with him all year, right? Never pushed his minutes, never really, just did everything to keep him healthy. And he's a big dude. He is very tall, and he's skinny, and he's injury prone. And, these types of things happen. So, if you can push the start of his year a little deeper into the year, that's not the worst thing either. So I think just in general, sounds like it's good that the surgery was successful. I don't think it's any kind of surprise that the Celtics are going to be extremely conservative with how they bring him back, and, how slow they are in doing that. I mean, they absolutely should be. They've got, plenty of depth. They've got guys behind him. They're going to win a lot of games with or without him. And whenever he's on the floor, he is a complete game changer. So try to have him on the floor during the postseason as much as possible. I think that's, if you're looking at a plan for next season, I think the biggest thing should be like, hey, well, let's see what the playoffs look like with Porzingis, if at all possible.
Yeah. I like that tweet because it's so true. There's still like confetti tucked away somewhere in the Boston streets, hasn't all been cleaned up. And the people are like, yeah, most people are like, sure, take all the time you need, buddy. We're good.
See in February. There's no biggie.
That's right. There are people who are like, just bring them back for the playoffs. That's all. But honestly,
everybody's reaction to it was Shannon Sharp, like being like, that ain't a problem. That ain't a problem. That is not a problem.
That's right. The optimistic side is, okay, so he comes back on Christmas, which is, as we all like to say, basically when the season starts. You get him kind of January, February, then All-Star break. Great. Get a couple of months, under you. How are you feeling? Take a break. Relax. Then, March, April, take another week off while the play-in tournament works out, and assuming the Celtics are a top 2 seed. And you know what? Even if they're not a top 2 seed, let's say it costs the Celtics early and they drop to a 3 seed. Is anybody worried after seeing what we've seen about the Celtics winning a road game in the playoffs? Right. I'm not worried about that at all. I think the Celtics obviously they've won a ton of road games in the playoffs. So home court advantage, no problem. We'll just go get that in the playoff series and go get home court advantage back. So I'm not too worried about that. The championship buys them so much leeway with this. And frankly, I feel like there's so much that's going to be lifted off of their shoulders from they clearly got like tight in the finals. They clearly got tight. And even in game 5, all of the tightness, like it was Drew Holiday who came in and was like, hey guys, I've been here before. Don't worry. I'm going to bail you out. We're going to win this thing. And we're all just going to have some fun. I don't think that tightness comes back, next season. I think they're like good. So maybe that gets them through. We'll figure out what they do with Luke Cornett, but I think that puts a little bit more of a priority on re-signing him.
Yeah, I think so.
They bring Tillman back too. You've got 3 guys there that I'm comfortable with. Cornett to play his normal role. He was good last season.
Yes.
Tillman, who after having, coming in midstream, losing his father, which was horrible.
Yeah.
Getting an off season, if he can come back, knowing that he's the switchable guy.
Yeah.
That's good. And maybe the thing that I don't realize about Tillman is he's 25 years old.
Yeah.
He looks like he's 34, but
right. No, he looks like he's 38, just like Al Horford, because he looks like Al Horford.
That's right. That's right. But
no, I want to see more Tillman. I'm
absolutely
very interested to see like that. That's not just like there's injury insurance there. Like, no, like let's get a closer look at this guy, because there's some stuff there.
There is. And then you got Nemaesh Queta, who had stretches where he's like, and they upgraded his contract. So he's around. He's a guy you can throw in there in certain situations that serviceable. I think they're okay. They're not going to have to lean on Horford too much. No. And again, I kind of don't care if it costs them. Let's say they lose, I don't know, they were a 64-win team. Let's say they're a 55-win team. Let's say a little 54-win team. Who cares?
Who cares?
Like,
who cares?
Top, right? Like that to me, it's like, okay, so that brings them back down to the rest of the pack.
Yeah.
Still potentially a 1 seed. Right? Like you lose 10 games off your lead from last season, you're still the top seed. But okay, let's give these other teams some credit. Maybe the Knicks, maybe they're better. Maybe the Bucks figured out, who knows? But whatever. The Celtics are still going to be in the mix for the top 1, 2, 3. They are built to withstand this. They've got a lot of experience winning without Porzingis. I'm like, I obviously not the best, but I don't look at this and be like, oh my God, oh no, they're not, doom and gloom. It's
Right.
funny. There are some people who are doom and gloom. Like, oh, well, there goes the repeat. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
It's gonna be okay, guys.
Yeah.
No,
You're
I
okay.
mean
We're good.
the thing that's very funny to me about that, right, is Kristaps Porzingis is an employee with unlimited PTO and a company that will approve all of his PTO. You know what I mean? It's
That's
like
yeah.
he's just like they're like, yeah, man, yeah, take another one, take another one. It's okay, it's
Yeah.
okay. We
We're
got
good.
this.
We
We
got
got
it.
this. We need you for one for
Yeah.
like a 2-month stretch.
Yeah. That's it. Okay. So that's cool. I think everybody's cool. None of us is worried. It's the beginning of the season and we don't even know what the schedule looks like. We don't know, like maybe the first couple of months will be, kind of easy. Who knows? Who knows? We'll see. We'll revisit that down the road. The Celtics made a couple of draft picks. Why don't we talk draft? I know it's your favorite time of year, Tom.
I do
You're a
enjoy the
big
draft.
NBA draft guy. Not so much. Not so much. I am not a big NBA draft guy, but we're still going to talk the draft. We'll do that.
Okay, hang on. I hustled my butt off to try to get this. Last year, Porzingis added 2 expected wins on cleaning the glass, which is quite good. Also, if the Celtics sacrifice those 2 expected wins and don't have him, it's okay. I got balloons. All right.
Well-timed balloon release on YouTube exclusive. Let's talk draft when we come back. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. Major League Baseball, full swing here. Red Sox games. It's a great thing to do, especially on a night like this. Great night for baseball. Saw the Celtics over there at the Red Sox game. So that's a fond memory. You could have gotten last-minute tickets to that game. Imagine getting last-minute tickets to that game and seeing the Celtics throw out first pitches. So you never know what you're going to find on the Game Time app, but it's not just sports. It's theater. It's comedy shows. It's concerts. It's all there. You get last-minute deals, up to 60% off buying last-minute tickets on the Game Time app. You get flash deals, exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or event, zone deals where you choose the section, Game Time chooses the seats. That can save you a little extra money. And when you toggle all-in pricing, you can see everything, no surprise fees at checkout. Get the panoramic view from your seat before you buy the ticket. And Game Time's lowest price guarantee credits you 110% of the difference if you find that same ticket somewhere else for less. Go to Game Time. Go to the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app on your app store. Boy, I'm really getting there. Create the account. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA. You get $20 off your first purchase. So download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA. LOCKED. LOCKEDONNBA. For $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets. Lowest price guaranteed. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out Locked On Sports today. Streaming 24/7 on YouTube, the Amazon Fire TV channels app. It's all the big shows. It's all the big top stories. It's heavy draft on Locked On Sports today. So check that out. Without all of the fake arguing and all of that stuff, that's safe. They can have that on their big 4-letter networks. They can fake argue. We do real talk here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Real talk. The Celtics. Yeah, man. The Celtics added 2 draft picks, picking Anton Watson at pick 54 on Thursday. That's after everybody knows that Baylor Scheierman was picked at 30. I just expected the Celtics to trade down. I don't know if they didn't have a trade partner, but we found out that this is, when Scheierman was at South Dakota State, he declared for the draft and entered the transfer portal and went through draft workouts and all of that and worked out with the Celtics. Then went to Creighton, had a couple of good seasons there. Was it all Big East? Was he the Big East player of the year?
No.
Yeah. So no, that was that dude from Providence. I think that was the Big East player of the year. But he was the all Big East, 13 All-American. So, and a pretty good shooter. my understanding.
Yes.
I actually have gone to Providence Creighton games, so I have seen him play. I just didn't note like, oh, I should keep an eye on this guy because he might go to the Celtics. It just was like, oh, cool. He's a Creighton Blue Jay, and I'm wearing all my Providence College gear, so boo. But now it's yay because he's the 30th pick for the Celtics. Tom, you like this pick?
I do. Yeah, no, I liked it quite a bit. Look, we've talked before about how much I love the draft, and this year was not my year to be super plugged into the draft. Like, I'm not gonna sit up here and be like, yeah, I watched Markelle Fultz as a sophomore in high school, and I really thought he had the potential to be the number one pick then. No, like, this was not that year for me. But Scheierman I like a lot. Like, I think it's really fun. One of the things I like the most about him is his shot is obviously kind of like the pillar of his game, right? Like, good shooter, but then he's got other stuff that pops as a result of the shot. He's got like, people have to close out to him very hard, and he's got these like very just kind of shifty moves. Like, he'll take these huge steps sometimes when he's going to the basket, and he's pretty tall, so he kind of uses his height and the fact that people close out hard to kind of get a step on somebody, take like a big step past them, and then he's kind of got you on his hip in the way that somebody who's a little bit more explosive might. He's not that explosive, obviously, but he's crafty in that way. He knows how to do things. I think when you're looking at the Celtics, if they're trying to bring in somebody who might actually be able to contribute, and you bring in somebody older like that, it's somebody who's got some tricks to their game that, like, yeah, they might not be able to implement them immediately, like, right out the gate, or maybe even like your first season, but it's like second season, you can start to be like, yeah, I think you might be able to pitch in a little bit here and there. And I mean, with the spot up shooting, I think is going to be very real. I know there's been some talk about him just kind of being like like more of a movement shooter than a spot up shooter. And like, there's probably something to that, but also, like, if you're a shooter, you can shoot. Like, you can figure out spot up shooting. Like, I'm not worried about that one bit, really. And I think I think it could be kind of fun to watch, right? Like, I think, you look at somebody like Hauser, where it's just like, man, if that guy catches it in rhythm, like, I think it's going to go 30 feet in the air and hit nothing but the net on the way through. And it's like, if you've got somebody who can do a little bit more movement, who can kind of, throw a defender off, run around a screen, catch a pass off a screen, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And there's like little flashes of really interesting passing with him that I don't think you see with Hauser. There's, he's a good rebounder for his position. I like him. I think it's a good pick. I think it's an interesting pick. One, because the Celtics are now tying up guaranteed money in a guy. And two, I think there's a chance that Baylor Scheierman is a guy who, like, might maybe not demand minutes, but might deserve minutes his first year. Like, he might be that good. And that's an interesting, good problem to have if you're the Celtics, because Brad was pretty explicit that, like, hey, we're not really drafting a guy to play right now. Our rotation is pretty hard to crack. And then he goes out and drafts a guy where I'm like,
Yeah.
An interesting one.
He might get situational minutes. He might get, if you're looking for, a shooter to fill in a lineup around Jayson Tatum for second quarters, why not? Right? Like, he's, by all accounts, I think the defense is going to be the kind of the issue to start. And, anytime you make a jump, like Creighton to the NBA is like, it's a little bit of a jump there, so he's going to have a chance to shoot his way into the lineup where Joe Mazzulla loves shooting. And if he can prove to be passable enough, like maybe in the early going when they're looking to kind of just get by and you need to maybe outscore some teams, maybe he's a guy that can just get in there and hit some shots. And that's, if you can go out there and hit some shots, then you have a chance to get some time on the floor. And the best part about this pick is they don't need him to do anything. They don't need him to do anything. And if there's a shortcoming, if he goes out there in the preseason and they throw him in there and he looks lost, then you say, okay, no problem. You're going to go to the G League and you're going to spend a lot of time in Maine and go shoot your way through a G League season and figure out how to calm down and slow down. And maybe you could become a contributor. But also, like, people keep talking about the potential to replace Sam Hauser. Like, there's the potential there that Sam Hauser is too expensive for the Celtics in this current situation. Like, maybe he gets priced out of what the Celtics can realistically pay for a guy in his position, and Scheierman just becomes the guy. It's like, all right, well, we're just gonna thank you, Sam. Congratulations. You can go puke in a cooler of beer at somebody else's parade somewhere down the line, maybe. And like, that's go have fun. Let's explore that when we come back, and we'll talk about Anton Watson because there's a lot more to the potential here with the Sam Hauser thing. The new collective bargaining agreement, it's a weird little quirk of why Sam Hauser might be too expensive, and it's not just taxes. So that's coming up next. Today's show is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, patience. It's the formula for winning championships. It's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle, level it up to peak performance, superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered with over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die. You'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back, because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. Today's show is also brought to you by our good friends over at Crack Sauce. They make this incredible array of very delicious hot sauces that's not just heat. It's very important. This is flavorful. This is flavor. This is an ingredient. It's not just blowing your mouth open with heat. You're not going to find this on hot ones where celebrities are going to be like, oh, this crack sauce is killing me. No, this is going to be super, super, super delicious because it's all locally made by a Celtics fan, by local work. I'm sure a lot of them are Celtics fans too. These people are celebrating just like you are, and they're doing so in Lowell, Massachusetts, with ingredients from Concord, Drake at Mass, Carlisle. These are incredible. I use them all the time. One of the best perks that I have is when I run out of these, they tend to renew their ad, so I get a whole new shipment that I go, oh, great. I get paid in crack sauce, and it's worth it. These are delicious. Go check it out at Crack Sauce, CRAIC sauce.com. Use the code LOCKDOWN for 10% off. Load up on it. Give them as gifts. They're great gifts. And when you're at cracksauce.com, check them out. They're at local events all over the place. So go say hi. Go say hi to Brian, huge Celtics fan. Give it a taste, and you're going to be hooked, just like I am. Crack Sauce, CRAIC sauce.com. Lockdown is a code for 10% off. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out Locked On NBA. Rotating hosts all week long. I'll be back hosting on Wednesday with Jake Madison, talking about the NBA as a whole. Go check it out wherever you get your podcasts. It's a fun way to keep in touch with the league. Let's get back to the conversation here. And the CBA quirk I was telling you, but not quirk, it's a rule that teams under there's the salary floor that teams have to be they have to reach. There's a minimum spending, and they have to reach that by the beginning of the season. There are penalties for that, for not being there. And that's where you see your Bruce Brown type of contracts, 2 years, $40 million, something crazy. You're like, what? He's getting what? How much? Knowing that maybe you're going to get traded, but there are teams with a lot of cap space that need to spend up to a certain amount. And a guy like Sam Hauser, if he hits the free agent market, a team looking for shooting and has the cap space can say, hey, here's 2 years at a ridiculous number.
Yeah.
and Boston will be like, too much. That's just too much. We can't pay a ridiculous number. That's a clearly a wild overpay, but these teams have to pay somebody.
Yeah.
And somebody's going to hit the lottery, and it might be Hauser because he's good enough to get that kind of contract, even though it might be, $7-8 million more than he would normally get. So that's something that you kind of have to prepare for with this.
There's three reasons that Hauser might get that, right? Number one is he's pretty good. And that's like, they're, just great. You offer a lot of money. You don't want to get a crappy player. Yeah, that makes sense. Like number two, he's a champion, right? Like those guys, like you just said, Bruce Brown, like that, these guys get paid after that. It just happens. And you know what? Kind of deservedly so. Look at what a difference it made to have. It's not one-to-one. It's not, apples to apples, but look at what a difference it made to have Drew Holiday, right? Like that's, it does matter to have these guys who have gone through that gauntlet come out the other end. And Hauser did come out the other end because he struggled in the Eastern Conference Finals and then shot well in the finals. He wasn't somebody who just kind of rode the wave and got it. No, he contributed to a championship, guarded Luka at times. And then the third reason is he's also if you're one of those teams that has cap space at this, late juncture or the juncture when you might be throwing this kind of money at Hauser, you're also not getting a guy who's going to affect your draft fortune so much that you can't go for Cooper Flag. You know what I mean? He's got that nice trifecta of hey, if we sign this guy, he's a useful player. If we get good somehow, he'll help us, he'll help us contribute all that stuff. But also he's not going to be the reason that we move from second in the lottery to 13th in the lottery and we just ruin ourselves. It's a nice three-piece there for Sam Hauser where he could and you know what? I hope he does, man. I hope he gets paid.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not?
Yourself some money, man. That's great.
That's what it's all about. And the Celtics have to protect against that.
Hopefully not. Hopefully that's not what it's all about. But I do hope that he gets money.
Tom.
Yeah.
Buy crack sauce. Listen, you have to protect against that possibility. You need shooting to come off your bench. And look, you need to look down the road with these draft picks, but you can't look too far down the road because you're picking 30th and 54th. And those guys might crack a rotation, but they're not changing anybody's fortunes, much like you said with Sam Hauser. Sam Hauser wasn't even drafted, and he's built himself into a really good player, one of the better undrafted players that you're going to find, right? So, but is Scheierman going to become an all-star? Probably not. Okay, yes, definitely. Is Anton Watson going to become an all-star? Also, absolutely, definitely. But no, that's you can't look too far down the road because in a few years it's not going to matter, right? And I don't want to have those conversations yet because we don't know what's going to happen. But this becomes untenable when repeater tax comes in and draft picks start getting frozen and dropped to the end of it's one thing to say we can't trade a pick 7 years out. Okay, fine. We're not going to do that. But also if that pick becomes the 30th pick, no matter what,
right.
That which is one of the things if you stay over the second apron.
Right.
But all of that said is you just have to have these backup plans. And as much as I really like Sam Hauser, but if he gets a deal and they can't figure out a reasonable extension, then you pick up the team option and you say, we'll just deal with it in free agency next year. And if we can come to an agreement, great. If not, then, Baylor comes in and fills that role. One thing I do like about Scheierman is it's weird to say, I kind of like the lack of athleticism in his shot. He doesn't need a lot of jumping and all this stuff to get that shot off. It's just catch, boom. He's not flying up, he's not jumping 4 feet in the air. It's kind of an effortless kind of shot. And I kind of like that in a shooter.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that. So we'll see what he does, but there's the potential for him to make an immediate impact, maybe as a depth shooter, maybe a young Svi Mikhailuk. Maybe he just kind of takes that role, and who knows? But then he could become more, and that Hauser insurance element is not it's not nothing.
It's not.
Quickly,
I was
Anton.
curious. I was real quick. I was curious how old Svi Mikhailuk is, and he is. He's 4 years older. 4 years older than Baylor. So he's yes.
Yeah, he's 24. 23-year-old Anton Watson. So this is the other thing. It's like they drafted these guys.
Baylor is 23 for the next 2 months. Give him his credit, please. He will be 24 when the season starts, but yes.
That's all that matters, Tom. That's all that matters. I want everybody to be older because I'm old and I don't want to.
I enjoyed the Anton Watson pick because when I saw his name, I was like, I think that's that guy. And I looked him up. I was like, it is that guy. I kind of like that guy. That was my big Anton Watson analysis. Was like, I think I've seen that guy play for Gonzaga. I did see that guy play. Well, yeah, he's a hooper. So
6'8", 7 foot wingspan, defender. This is the opposite of Scheierman, where he's the defender, and you work on his jump shot. But this is the formula for hits down in this part of the draft. You find somebody with one, what do you have a skill that's NBA ready or close to NBA ready? Just like Jordan Walsh, that defense skill is like, okay, he's basically an NBA level defender. Maybe he's a little kind of like, Unchained Lightning, kind of like get a little hat, but like if you can tame that and get a jump shot in there, he could be a 3-and-D guy.
Yeah.
Watson, at 54, kind of same idea. Although, he shot 41% from three.
Yeah, he's got this last season. It wasn't on very many attempts. He's got nice on the thing that I'd be encouraged about when you watch him is like you watch his touch and it's like kind of around the paint. It's like, that guy's he's not throwing up bricks. You know what I mean? Like he's got some touch to it. I think your Walsh point is really interesting too, because like I think the Walsh pick, when you consider that in tandem with your Scheiermans, that's really interesting because your Walsh is a guy. I mean, the Celtics didn't try to force him into a two-way contract. Well, I don't know what they tried or didn't try to do, but they gave him an actual contract, right? They have some developmental plans for this guy, and he's kind of a project. You already have that project. You don't want to have too many projects on your roster, so you go out and you get a couple of guys who've been around for a little bit. A Watson who's a bit of a project, but then like a Scheierman who might be a little bit more ready. And you've kind of got this interesting little collection of a young project with tons of athleticism and a super defense guy, a guy who can definitely shoot. You've got all these little irons in the fire that might might be useful down the line.
Yeah.
I think thinking of Walsh in those terms, in these terms of like, going to be bumping up against aprons and all that down the line. He's another guy to kind of consider in all of this that I think is kind of intriguing.
Yeah. Look, there's only so many spots.
Right.
So, and things are going to change. Al Horford will retire at some point in the next, couple of years. Look, I don't want to go down too far down the road, but like he was pretty good this year, Al Horford. I think he'll be fine next year. And I think he might come back. Like that might just be a year-to-year thing. So if he's still like serviceable, which he was good. Yeah. He should still be good. Even if he drops to serviceable, he's still worth keeping around.
Yes.
Even on a minimum deal, but that's still a spot. So you still have your top 5, 6 guys, and then it's your like 7 through 12, and then your 3 kind of like never play guys at the end. But like it's the 7 through 12 that is in this mix that's always going to be in flux. So yeah, Jordan Walsh is in that mix. Scheierman now in that mix, Watson now in that mix. Like, you just throw all of these guys in there, and the more kind of guys that you can get with an NBA level skill, then you just kind of, it becomes almost like a reality competition. It's just NBA Survivor. Which one of these guys can like get through these challenges and come through in the end? Like maybe one, maybe two. It won't be all of them, probably, but if they can get one or two to be somewhat contributing, even if it's seventh, eighth man, you've hit. Like, that's all you need in the late first, second round. If you just get like bench contributions or better, boom, congratulations, you've nailed that end of the draft. So they've gotten guys into the mix that have high level skills. Now, which of these guys can add to those skills enough to be part of the rotation for the long haul?
I think the answer is, as always, is Juan Begaron. That's
the guy. And Yamadar, as always, it's those guys. It's those guys.
Yes.
All right. Well, we'll continue to talk about these guys because Summer League is like around the corner. That's like
Baylor Scheierman is such a fun Summer League player. Like, it's so perfect, man. It's the
overreactions are gonna be just
like, give it to me.
Come on. It's gonna be crazy. I'm just gonna be a whole lot of me, like the Naked Gun kind of the meme in front of the exploding fireworks factory. Nothing to see here. Everybody calm down. And meanwhile, like Scheierman's hitting like 10 threes and Jordan Walsh is dunking on three people and like all that stuff. And Watson has like 4 blocks and 6 steals. And you're like, oh geez, oh no. But anyway,
we've got a real opportunity for like a Carson Edwards-esque overreaction to this Summer League. Like, this
that's
could
true.
Be like,
oh man, he was such a star in that Summer League.
Yeah. Yeah. He was awesome.
Yeah. Was that the Summer League with the earthquake? Was that the Zion, or was that?
It might have been. Yeah, it might have been that one or the one
the year before.
I can't remember. It was. Yeah.
It all blends in together.
It does.
Anyway, we'll be talking about these guys plenty over the course of Summer League and all that stuff. So, all right, Tom. Appreciate you as always.
Appreciate you, man.
I always appreciate Tom Westerholm. I appreciate you listening at home, on the way to work, at work, watching, wherever you're watching, however you're watching. Are you streaming it to your TV? Do you have it on a background tab at work? That's a nice sneaky way to do it. However you're doing it, I appreciate you doing it. Thank you so much. Go check out my book. It's called Built Different. It's the commemorative edition of it's a commemorative edition celebrating the championship. Lots of pictures, lots of words, stories from throughout the season. So go check that out. At triumphbooks.com or wherever you get your books. Use the code Celtics24 on triumphbooks.com for 25% off the book. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hopping into the YouTube comments. And thank you for sharing the podcast. Tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.